Well, thank you very much, Veli, and thank you very much to the rest of the desk. I'm excited to see a Coastline matchup, Michael. For us, this is going to be our first time casting a map that has had some little touch-ups to it, not exactly a complete overhaul. And we're looking at casting Astralis for the first time, too. So it's a gunner's paradise, as Veli said. Do you expect to see that kind of matchup between these teams?
Well, considering how many gunners we have on these rosters, absolutely, Parker. I'm really looking forward to Astralis vs. Oxygen, and I think that it's a good time to test out the new map. It's a good time to give more opportunities to both Oxygen and Astralis to make their bid for top position in this stage, and I just want to get right into it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get underway as well. For Oxygen, their record so far this stage, they're 2-0, and that was with victories over both TSM and Mirage. For Astralis, they didn't exactly have the greatest start. Their debut as this new organization, no longer known as Disrupt Gaming. For those of you that haven't tuned in to any of the Astralis matchups so far, you might not be familiarized with exactly where they came from. It was a 3-7 loss to the Sonics, who have looked indomitable thus far through the 2 games of this stage, and then a 7-3 victory over XSET. And XSET, well, they haven't looked like the strongest competitor thus far. For Astralis, they're now going up against the team that enters the day in first place overall. And I mean, I feel like Coastline really does play to the strengths of both of these teams, as the desk talked about.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a pretty hectic match. We could tell that before we even get into the action. We know this from obviously the players on these rosters and the map we're going to. While it has been changed, I don't think Coastline's going to change in nature. There is a community poll for this one, as we always have. This time it's going to be, will Vertical or Iconic get the most kills in this game? So Parker always likes to talk about how the poll is kind of vague and it doesn't necessarily have to do with KD or anything like that. This one, it's literally just who's going to get the most kills.
Obviously so frustrated with me dunking on their community poll that they now err on the side of caution with specificity. And honestly, I can't really blame them because, well, if you give me an ambiguous poll, then I think people are going to vote ambiguously. It's not just a popularity contest. The question is very straightforward. And if you look at the overall statistics through the 2 games that have been played, Vertical enters the day with the 4th highest rating. In fact, he is 0.01 behind Hot and Cold and Grixer, who are currently tied in 2nd place. So a good day from Vertical could vault him up into the top 2, potentially even past Young Alec, who, well, Young Alec has had a pretty good game so far. That's really all we can go off of. As for Iconic, he's been the standout performer on Astralis. He and DP Fire are both in the top 20 for his team. But bad news for Astralis is that everybody except for Yaga is in the top 20 of OXG, and Yaga is not too far off either. So this whole team on Oxygen's side showing great depth and good ability. And it was touched upon by the desk, is that a team like Oxygen excels when they can beat you in terms of gun skill. And yeah, we've seen some role swaps for them, but one thing that hasn't changed is that they are not very utility/objective focused. They don't really get the plants down. They don't really focus on getting diffusers down and then covering from there. They usually just rush in, use the utility they have to force you out, and then beat you in the ensuing fight. And well, you know what? It works. It works more often than not. And OXG are just a hair away from being able to qualify for the 6 Invitational. All they need to do is not finish last. And I think at this point, I think one more win would pretty much secure that, because even if they went 3-6, I don't know if there's going to be a team that will, or I don't know if there's a team that wouldn't do worse than that. So we'll see. We're just a moment away from being able to get underway. And is there anything about this matchup in particular that stands out to you that you want to talk about, Michael?
Well, Oxygen hasn't played Coastline so far through the stage, which is not surprising. They've only played 2 maps, so there's not a lot of room to fit that in. They did play it last stage against Beast Coast. They beat Beast Coast on that map, as you would expect. On the other hand, Astralis, they played this map not yesterday. I'm so used to this subsequent days. They played this map in the first week, Playday number 2 against XSET, and they did manage to win it, but when you play a map so close to, to your follow-up match on the same map, you're usually giving away a lot of information. So unless Astralis has made some sweeping changes on their Coastline in the last week or so, then there is an information advantage here for Oxygen.
Well, we're just getting everybody into the lobby. I don't know exactly what the full delay is here, but we are close.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have everything ready.
Oh, my
to go.
apologies. Apparently, I am not able to read the clock.
What? The clock?
Yeah, it's supposed to start at 4 o'clock.
Oh, they're trying to be punctual. Okay.
Well, they're trying to adhere to a proper schedule, and I can't say I blame them at all.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are.
Did they give you a snooty comment after that? And
Yeah,
I didn't
I
hear
received
it.
a verbal slap on the wrist.
Oops. That's on you, Parker.
Oh, well, I don't know if... Yeah, frankly, I don't know.
Throwing
if I'm
you
gonna
under the
recover
bus.
from it. But
No, but
I didn't hear that. We were too busy rambling back and forth, but...
We'll blow some more hot air for the next minute or so, and then we should have the action ready for you all. It's, as we talked about, a very exciting match. Mostly for me, I'm just looking forward to seeing Coastline played, since this will be the first time that, as Parker mentioned, that we have casted the new Coastline, as it were, even though, as has been discussed, it's not that different. And I think these are the two perfect teams. If I were to go through the NAL lineup of teams real quick, I think these are probably the two teams I would choose to play on this map against each other for an action-packed event.
I would agree with that. I mean, I'd like to see the Sonics on this map as well against OXG. I think that would be an entertaining matchup, but Coastline does usually have the distinction of being one of the least structured maps in terms of how teams play it out. It is not as utility heavy. I suspect we're going to see a hard breacher, but there are lots and lots and lots of games that we've casted on Coastline where teams will completely forego a hard breacher. If they're going to bring one, it's almost always Hibana. You know, you might see an ace, you might see a thermite here and there, but I mean, the fact of the matter is that for two operators like Maverick and Thermite, you don't really get a lot of mileage with them. Thermite is incredibly vulnerable when he's putting down that exothermic charge, so you know, you don't tend to see him get brought. Hibana has tons of application onto the wall leading into Pink Bar upstairs, as there is also that Pink Bar down below to not be confused with. Hibana can also take out the walls into kitchen, and, you know, there's no real hatches to worry about, so that's not really of significance outside of maybe the hatches inside of Aquarium and Hookah. So keep an eye on that. Teams will instead bring a Lion, or we've seen teams bring a Glass, or we've seen teams bring a Ying in place of a hard breacher. But with all that said, let's not waste any time. We're ready to get into Coastline. Michael, on your screen is the beautiful fly through as we will start off our very first match of our third day here in Stage 3 of the NAL.
All right, I'm going to leak the chat from before we loaded into the map. J90 said, "I'm in love with Kino," and then nobody responded to him, so he said LMAFO, or something along those lines. And then after a while, Kino said, "I mean, I am too, you know." So basically, J90 and Kino both love Kino, is what I got from that chat. It was pretty good.
Michael, what does the F in LMFAO stand for?
I don't know, Parker. Fun? Friends? Who do stuff together?
It's unfortunate. I was really hoping that you'd fall for it, and then I could end your
You
career
really
here live.
thought? You really thought? No. What?
Oh, yes, it stands for.
You're not going to give me that easily, Parker. I am a tick. You're going to have to dig me out. So, Thatcher and Flores are the bands for the attack. Thatcher, I don't know why I can't say operator names today. Valkyrie and Malusi will be defense. Nothing too surprising here. We've seen Flores' bands actually start to soar as his relevance has been made apparent. His ability to clear out utility on any map is frankly staggering compared to many other operators.
Flores and Thatcher seem to be the two most common attacker bands that we've been witnessing thus far. And I mean, we can actually pull up the official numbers of operator bands and take a look at it. But for the most
like
part,
30%.
Yeah, I mean, they tend to dominate. Like you said, Flores has a ton of utility. Not just does Flores have a great gun, but in addition to that, he's also got access to a drone that can work for soft destruction. It can dislodge players. So in terms of not just soft destruction, it can shake people out of the positions that they're in. Yeah. It can also do damage. I mean,
he's
the people getting their HP chunked away. So There's a lot of applications, and he gets 4 of them.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of utility. He's in the NAL so far through this stage. He is the second most banned operator on attack. And it's not really that surprising given his kit. It's a lot of utility. Yeah, one thing that is interesting isn't the fact that Mira wasn't banned, because she gets banned a lot, but not necessarily on Coastline. Sometimes on Coastline. In the past, it used to be necessary. Now, she doesn't really get played all that much, so. But she's being brought. Not banned.
I eat my words, by the way, about this Maverick play. So, OXG knows something that I don't. It was talked about that Twitch could also show up, and well, here she is.
Yeah.
One thing that doesn't get discussed on a map like Coastline is that one thing that aids both teams is caliber-based destruction.
Yeah.
Now there are significantly fewer bullets available for pretty much every single operator, which means that your ability to pre-fire and create lines of sights and shoot through floors and walls are hindered because you'll run out of bullets much faster than you would under regular circumstances and previously when they had more ammunition. So
yeah, no, definitely, and it's why you need a lot of tools to open things up, whether on attack or defense. Now, one thing I find really interesting here is that right off the cuff, Astralis are implementing a strategy that is mostly contingent on the changes to the map. You see to the left of Shuttle there, he's got good protection from the skylight. He doesn't have to worry about somebody shooting his mirror window, and they're going to extend it to 90 because of that. And that's sensible. It's a good position to hold. It gives you further control over Penthouse, VIP, and Projector, and that gives you a lot of horizontal protection for the site.
Going to be hunkering down here on this pink bar upstairs, right next to the bomb chassis. For those that aren't aware or don't have a visual aid, it's a hookah billiards defense at the moment, so that's where the holdout will be. A decent spread, as you talked about, and even if the map has been changed and tinkered with, from what we've seen thus far of Coastline, is a lot of these sites do tend to function the same. They're a little bit different here and there, but for the most part, it's at least semi-similar. And there goes the Mira window for J90, just as he's by the doorway leading into hookah, so he can't play as cavalierly off of Cool Vibe stairs as he wants to. That's a tough spot for him to be in, and he is far more susceptible to getting flushed out.
Nobody's been flushed out yet, though, Parker, as we're coming down to the last minute, and not a single casualty. This is unusual for Coastline. Retro playing with fire and getting burnt just a tad to lose some HP. Evil Eye inside of hookah is spotted out. No action, though, ensuing, and there's only 2 anchors. Keep that in mind. It's J90 and Retro. The rest of the Astralis defenders are on the roam.
Shuttle's down below, and he's got access to a nitro cell. He'll be able to get underneath Aquarium and get some access towards that default plant spot. If nobody flushes him out, then they'll be in a tough spot. The grenade goes in with 30 seconds left, but bad timing for Retro to go on the cam as Kino pushes on up. He nets the very first kill for OXG, but he also loses Yaga in the process. Evades the nitro cell from below, but there's a follow-up from Shuttle doing significant damage. Laxing trades it off. He's dusted by J90. As both these teams just continue to trade back and forth. Leads us into a 2v2 with 15 seconds left. Diffuser is not in anybody's hands. It'll need to be retrieved, and if they walk in from this hookah balcony, J90 is poised and ready there with the shotgun, but OXG are wasting time. Vertical picks up the diffuser. J90 on the ground, shuts down Foxay. Will Vertical be able to get this off? No, he won't. Iconic stops him in his tracks, and it's a nice hold from Astralis on the first round.
Wow, interesting strategy there from Astralis. We saw a lot of different things going on. The vertical, so play downstairs there for Astralis was super important. It wasn't very effective, though. And the fact that that downstairs play fell so flat caused a lot of problems in the long run for Astralis. However, they were able to retake their own site, and that's what's most important. Also, I love the awareness on J90. As soon as he realized that his teammate Shuttle had died inside of Pink Bar and was unable to hold down Billiards, he didn't overextend into Vase or force his retake in hookah. He waited for his opportunity to pounce, waited for his chance to re-secure his site. It wasn't Shuttle, by the way, it was Retro. I'm fixing people up already. And it was just well thought out. When you have pacing like that on a team like Astralis, their ability to manage their own aggression, that really shows a lot of growth, and it's the only reason why that force retake strategy just worked for Astralis.
Well, now they'll go downstairs to kitchen, so the site rotation for Coastline hasn't really changed up all that much. Expect some off-site presence down on that double bar portion of the map. That is also known as its own bomb site, but will not be employed as such here.
Bar.
Bar, as we call it, which is, I think, what we named it for Clubhouse as well, Michael.
Yep, bar.
But, bar. But...
we don't really see it that much. I mean, it's a nice site when you do actually get to it, because you always have to do some kind of interesting strategy to hold on to it. Usually, it's a forced retake strat like the one we just saw. By the way, if I ever say forced retake, basically what that means is it's a strat with the intention from the defenders of being set up for a retake, and that is contingent upon the force that you can wield. Usually, 3 roamers on that retake. Possibly more if one of the anchors fell off when the site was initially taken. But the idea is that you have the force to retake, and it's deliberate. And that's how you usually defend the bar site.
Well, Alibi's pick rate continues to remain high. If you were locked inside of a cryo chamber and you are just emerging now, you might wonder why we are suddenly seeing Alibi at the top level, and you might see more of her if a team decides to go to Clubhouse, as that tends to be one of the bomb sites where she has a very high pick rate. We've also seen her get played on Cafe. The biggest reason for this is simply because they gave her a different site. That is it. After they did that, her pick rate climbed quite high, and with it, she sees play. And she's good for distracting. She's got a great weapon. She can pin you down when you shoot at one of her decoys or clones, if you want to call it that, and is just able to stall. While also being a good roamer. I've heard people say that she's very similar to the old Ella, but not quite the same nightmare for people.
Well, nightmare for Vertical is he's taken down from J90 inside a hookah. Good use of the alibi there. And that's the first pick for Astralis. They're looking really solid on this defense here, Parker. I think a big part of it, for me, that's the most obvious at least, is the patience that Astralis is displaying. They're setting themselves up for success, and they're not getting in their own way. Oxygen have no counters as of yet for these roams, and because they can't touch the roam, when it comes to actually getting to the site, it causes even more problems.
This is the huge change that people have talked about to this map, and that's they've replaced the window inside of VIP with this double wall, which is why we might start to see Maverick's pick rate continue to go high, and we could even see a Thermite or an Ace used more, and oh no, Kino, you wander right in, and J90's in the same position as before, playing above inside a hookah. He'll just hold some control over those Cool Vibe stairs. Yaga's in the site, though, and he guns down Retro, and he'll look for more, playing by the A-bomb chassis.
Oh,
now
no.
watching for the comeback from over towards the bathroom, and his attention looks elsewhere. He knows he's got a target above. Those are the pings that are going in. Running out of time as only 10 seconds remain, and Astralis' J90 will find kill number 3. Yaga goes down. No ace available as DP Fire picks up another kill, though it's been J90 all the way down. And they're just looking for Fox A. J90 will actually get it, and that is a bug. It was unless, here's one thing to consider.
Oh.
There was a change that was made very recently where if you get the down and somebody else secures it,
true, I forgot about that.
You're credited with the kill. So it is entirely possible, though we did not see it, it is entirely possible that J90 got the down and it was only DP Fire to secure, thus giving J90 the technical ace. And that is another change, by the way, that came in. So if you're listening to this and you try to kill steal, and your opponent downs somebody and you think, ha ha ha, my kill, yoink. No, the game says no thank you. So with that said, all we can do is speculate because we didn't actually get to see it. Yep. But J90 seems to have gotten the ace.
Yeah, I got a little confused there when I saw quad kill for DP Fire. I'm like, surely that's a bug. So there's no indicator that it was in fact a kill on a down person that was downed by somebody else. And since there's no indication, you kind of just have to guess at it unless you actually saw it happen. So I think it's probably what Parker's talking about. But yeah, hey, we got the bar site. That's pretty cool. Also, that last defense, let me just talk about it for a little bit before we move on. We saw a horizontal roam clear by a bar, blue bar and sunrise bar, but no vertical roam clear, no clear upstairs. And that, as a result, allowed Astralis to freely roam. That's going to cause a lot of problems for you, especially when J90 is... Again, he's really displaying a lot of patience today. and he is lethal in the positions he's been given. You've got to solve that problem. You've got to address it directly. You cannot let it linger, and because they did, an ace, technically, for J90.
So excellent work so far from Astralis. J90 showing up huge, and I know that he's not the one that we talked about on that community poll question. In fact, if you pull up the statistics of Astralis, J90 sits roughly smack in the middle of the NA League right now. And if anybody is familiarized with this Astralis squad back when they were Disrupt, the standout performers for the team early on were Iconic and J90. You can have some brilliant games from everybody else on the team, but traditionally it was Iconic and J90 topping the score sheet. DP Fire has added some depth to that team as well, but Iconic so far through this stage has really been remarkable. Now, as we talk about this, 1 minute exhausted here in round number 3, Astralis still on the defense, halfway through their stead, and a couple shots fire through the floor. It tagged up Yaga, poor Yaga, but he's able to outlast it for now. He's not too far off of the bomb site, which is that double bar, or bar as you talked about it. So as long as Astralis can hold this top floor, they'll be in pretty good position.
We're seeing the same thing we saw last round here, Parker. Oxygen, once again, trying to get close action to the site. There's very light anchor play, so potentially Oxygen could hit site directly and cause a lot of problems for Astralis, which is what Oxygen's plan for the last 2 rounds. Oh, here's the big difference maker. This we haven't seen so far. One of the roamers is dead. The hands of Kino, and he's looking for more as he starts pushing up on Sunrise Bar. Yaga will get another for his team, and oh, Kino doing a lot of damage, but he's shut down by J90, who is just not losing his fights today. Yaga, though, getting a second, and it's the SAS defenders in a 2 versus 4.
They're hunkered down right now inside of the bomb site. They've still got 2 toxic canisters remaining, so there's time for the smoke to be able to do some damage, and also hold off on the push that's going to come in. There's a weird interaction there with Kino not seeing the leg, but J90 wants to go swinging because he realizes if we just sit and wait inside of this site, they're going to come to us and we are going to die. So armed with the SMG-11, he does what so many people have tried to do, and that's outduel OXG. It doesn't work out. Retro's next one in line. It certainly looks like, Michael, that OXG is going to walk away with this round, only losing Kino in the process. But there's a needle to thread, and that's exactly what Retro's going to do. He still hears some bullets goes out, but he can't fight back against Laxing, even if he tries to hold off the 3 other members of Oxygen. OXG picks up their very first round here on Coastline.
Nice play there from Lax. He knew that his opponent was low, and you just got to get 1 or 2 on target. It's exactly what we saw. So OXG, their first successful round, and I mentioned it as it happened. The big difference maker is that Oxygen managed to get one of the roamers. We've been seeing those roamers run roughshod over Oxygen through the first 2 rounds, and it's because Astralis keeps circumventing Oxygen's expectation. No matter what it is, where it is, Oxygen always clears out somewhere, and Astralis is somewhere else entirely on the roam. And they're also able to use their other positions, whether it be above or below, to influence the clear from Oxygen. Get a pick or 2 early on and put the defenders in the advantage. That's what Astralis did for the first 2 rounds, and it caused many problems. Now in the third, finally, even though the same formula seems to be playing out, Oxygen correct course, they get one of the roamers, and they immediately launch an attack onto the site, giving no time whatsoever for Astralis to correct. And here we are. Well done to Oxygen. Good adaptability, but to be fair, Astralis did gift that first kill to Oxygen in the last round. I mean, just dropping into main lobby like that. This is really dangerous.
All told, the roam clear was much stronger for Oxygen there, and the question is, and I think will need to be answered, is that just because of the bomb site? Double bars, like I said, as long as you can hold that top floor on double bars, you are in good shape. We have seen teams that have not been able to manage the clock successfully barrel into the double bars component of the map without having control above. And what happens? Well, they're just simply gunned down, and that's it, because there are avenues that the attackers do not look at above you. You just simply run at a time. Same thing happens on a map like Cafe. I think we saw it, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, when you don't clear out that top floor. Okay, you try to attack the bottom floor site without the top floor being in your pocket, and you are in for a bad time. So maybe it's just the way the bomb site plays out. We're still trying to see if Coastline's meta has really shifted at all because of some of the slight changes.
It has slightly. We've seen some different strategies. I think these roamers are a little bit more confident as we're on a penthouse defense. J90 will get the first pick by Vase. So very far removed from the site. And there's also DP Fire in Pink Bar trying to hold it down. He's being addressed by Yaga and I think somebody else by VIP possibly, as he takes a little bit of damage there.
He's just hanging out. If he pops up, he can look the right way, but he and Kino will be in a dance to death. Nobody seems to know what they're doing, but J90 says, hey, I haven't done much this round, so let me hop on in. I'll pick up my second kill and keep it going. Breaking double digits in just 3 rounds, but he looks all but certainly dead. Vertical pushes out. Yaga's nearby. This is a pinch in the process for J90. He's killed so far 90 seconds of this round, and Yaga get collapsed upon, and J90 won't be able to get out of there alive. Vertical with the perfect trade, but it still favors Astralis.
Yeah, that's the problem, Parker. Trading in that situation was not what OXG wanted. They needed to shut down J90, get him out of the equation after he had already gotten 2 kills. It's really just, yeah, shutting him down. But Astralis, after that engagement, they maintained the man advantage, even though DP Fire didn't get his first kill for the match. He didn't need to. J90 was there to pick up the slack.
Vertical will still hold that similar position by Vase. This Penthouse Theater site was almost undefendable prior to the changes to Coastline, the big one being that wall inside of VIP, and we'll see how pivotal it is. Denying the attackers that easy laneway on in. Down goes Retro on a beautifully tossed nade by Vertical. Iconic has a throwable of his own. It goes out, and it lands, but not with the target that he wants in mind. This slaps us into a 2v2, but another grenade finds its target. Foxay picking out Iconic. These are heat-seeking nades so far from OXG. Shuttle doing his best disappearing act as he manages to evade Foxay, firing through the headboard. Diffuser's going down. He stops it in its tracks. He'll go for a retreat with 15 seconds remaining. No Nitro Cell for him. Foxay will be tagged on in with 10 seconds to go. If he doesn't get this diffuser down soon, he's going to be extremely vulnerable, and he knows that. He's now on the point of no return, where if he pops out, he's only going to have 1 second to go, and Shuttle will fire through the floor, but pros don't fake, and Foxay won't. The plant is successful, and Shuttle stays downstairs. He'll have to make his way back up top, but because he's so far away, Foxay will have tons of time to reposition. And if a drone is available, there'll be intel for Foxay to boot, and it sure seems like there is. So with no information, no clue, and hopefully more hope than that, Shuttle will look to retake. He sees the diffuser, but he doesn't know where Foxay's position is. He'll fake it. Drone goes down. Foxay knows this, but he doesn't know that Shuttle's on it. So in he charges, but he's making a lot of noise in the process. Shuttle walks in, and unfortunately missing out on those shots, losing the fight to Foxay. OXG take 2 rounds in a row, and they have tied the game up.
That was a really interesting round. Beautiful retake there. Sorry, I guess not really a retake, but a comeback from Oxygen in the capacity of that round, not in the overall match. We're 2-2. It's about as close as it gets. But in the round, I think it was safe to say you could count Oxygen out. As soon as J90 got that 3-piece over by Vase, it looked like round over, job done. All we need to see Astralis do is just hold it down. But clearly the ADSs were poorly placed, or some other problem came up to them. Maybe they're destroyed or cleared, because those nades, as you said, heat-seeking nades, Parker. Well, they brought it to a 2v3 to a 2v1, and Shuttle just wasn't able to make it happen. I really want to also point out, I don't know what Shuttle was thinking with this play there. He got the kill on the planter, which is great, but then he dropped immediately. Now, dropping immediately is not necessarily the wrong call. If you think you're going to be peeked by cover, like the other player, if you think that they're going to peek you from Hall of Fame, then okay, drop. But instead of dropping and immediately pushing to hold the diffuser from below, or dropping and then immediately rotating back to White Stairs, Shuttle dropped and then lingered in the main lobby for, I don't know, like 15 seconds or something like that, which ultimately gave Foxay the freedom to pick up the diffuser and plant it in a safe position. There were ways to prevent that, and none of those were employed. It's curious.
The thing with Shuttle was that playing below is something that you do when you have information and you have that intel.
And C4.
And he didn't have any C4, and it certainly didn't seem like he had any intel either. There were no pings coming in, there were no yellow pings, there were no red pings, there were no calls being made, and he was completely off target when he was trying to figure out the location for Foxay's plant to go down. And I mean, once that timer hits 7 seconds, is it not the smarter idea to then immediately try to ascend the stairs? The thing was that Shuttle spent the final 18 seconds of that round down below and then still took some time to get back up to the top floor. About the 5-10 seconds that allowed Foxay to get out of there and throw the drone down. It is a puzzling decision, and one that I'm sure at some point we will get an answer for, but it certainly doesn't seem like it was the most optimal choice on how to contend in the post-plant.
Well, that's that, and because of it, that Oxygen, and because of Foxay as well, managed to get their second round tied up here. We'll go to the conventional site, the Billiards Hookah defense, and there's once again a roam from Astralis. Only 2 real anchors, 3 players off site. They're trying to keep themselves extended. They're trying to keep themselves in a flexible position, likely setting up for retakes. Nades from below, Vertical doing his level best to be his namesake and take out Retro from below.
That's 3 grenades thus far in a row that have all found their target. 2 were fatal. In this case, Retro manages to live with half his HP. First EE1D is going to go out as well. Retro hunkered down in the same spot behind the bar. He loses access to the drone, but then manages to shoot it either way. It's a daunting spot for him to be in. Still searching for his very first kill in the matchup here, Michael, and he is staring at the window over by Billiards. Smokes will go in and a grenade as well. It's going to stop Retro from being able to see a certain area, and there's one on the window that might be able to stop him. He swings on out effectively, though. Gets Kino as the diffuser was almost planted. Vertical there, able to refrag, but not before it was too late. It was a risky gamble by OXG, and now they have the unfortunate task of snatching that diffuser from the middle of the bomb site. All the while, it'll give the final 40 seconds of the round to Astralis for them to get back in. Yaga watching over towards luggage now, still contending with this 1 point. Diffuser has not been picked back up yet. Astralis have control over by Cool Vibe Stairs, watching to see if anyone's going to come over towards Hookah. Diffuser gets grabbed by Foxay. Yaga dies in the process, and Foxay peels off. A Nitro Cell goes down on the window. Vertical doing his best. That's 2 kills for him. Another attempt for Foxay. Is he going to be successful? No, he falls off. Watching and waiting to see if someone's going to go from over towards luggage. Shuttle down below again. He's got impacts, trying to dislodge a plant from going down. He's got some marks this time. So the intel is there, but they are too little, too late. Down goes Laxing, and Foxay manages to peel off. Vertical not been shaken off of this window. Out jumps the Wamai, taken down as OXG's guns come alive. DP fire, last one up for Astralis. For OXG, it's Vertical. Still in that window, still reigning supreme. 3 kills to his name so far through this round. He doesn't know where he's going to come from. Just a small jiggle peek, testing your reflexes that Jaeger's going to need to hit their shots. This would be an embarrassing one, but Vertical saves himself the humiliation. And that 3rd round in a row for OXG now gives them the lead here on Coastline.
That was very dangerous, very scary for both teams. But the shots just landing there for Vertical. Huge round from him as he really holds everything together from big window. So many weird plant attempts there from OXG. So many risks taken. And the direct sight hit mentality that OXG brought out in that round works perfectly. And why? It's because they've figured out the optimal place to nullify the roamer's presence. Aquarium. If you want to hit the site and you don't want to be bothered with clearing out the roamers, go through Aquarium. All you need to do is make sure you're not going to get C4'd from Blue Bar and Office. It's a really easy clear. Now, to be fair, Astralis didn't try to do that, but Oxygen did clear out below before they went for the site hit. Remember those nades coming from underneath, Vertical with the grenades below? That's, they had to drone that first. They had to clear it out, and once they knew it was free, they also knew they could hit the site. So well done to Oxygen, a thorough execution, and Astralis really not bringing out the same counters that we saw from them in the first 2 rounds.
Well, you live and die off of the roam. The one thing that really masked Astralis' setup is in the middle of that HUD on the left of your screen. J90 sitting at 12-3. He had 10 kills before that 4th round had ended. We are now in the 6th round. He's only picked up 2 since then. The problem is that the rest of Astralis, Retro, Shuttle, DP Fire, and Iconic, they have struggled to find the score sheet over many of those rounds. And if you're relying solely on one player, that's okay. Plenty of teams do that. But you need to have some consistency. And the problem is that if J90 goes cold and the rest of the team haven't found their groove just yet, and you are relying solely on one roamer to waste time, utility, and pick up kills, then the rest of your defense will crumble if J90 is not able to be successful. Over those last 2 rounds, he was far less of a difference maker and nowhere near as pivotal for Astralis, and with it, it allowed Oxygen to capitalize, isolate those players on defense, and then just ultimately collapse on the site.
We'll see if J9O can find his past success, but I think we're pretty used to this, Parker. Seeing players pick up a lot of kills in a short period of time, and then not many thereafter. It's somewhat normal in Siege. I don't know what it is. It just kind of happens that way. Could be the other team adapting. Could be you realize, wow, I've got a lot of kills, and then you stop. You start overthinking it, and then suddenly you're not getting as many. But that's psychoanalyzing. It's stupid. And right now, it is going to be DP Fire who is the one getting the kills. To lead us off, down goes Kino, but he's traded out quickly. A back and forth results in OXG picking up 3 in a row. Make that 4. It's just iconic now, and he'll drop into main lobby, getting himself 1. But there it is, Vertical with another, and Oxygen lock out the round. Wow.
Lock out the round and also lock out that first half, Michael. A 4-2 split for OXG on attack, doing what attackers do best on this particular map. And good to see that even with the changes, old habits die hard. Coastline is still an attacker fiesta, and that's what we saw from OXG, putting on a clinic in those last 4 rounds. Most amazingly, throughout it, though, is that with those 4 rounds, it was not OXG dominance. Astralis won 3 of the 4 opening duels in those 4 rounds that Oxygen won. Now, 2 of them were immediate trades. One of them was a clear advantage, and the other was an advantage for OXG. So it is a bit of a wash, and it might be a deceptive statistic, but Astralis were still the first ones to the punch, even if it did get equaled out by OXG relatively quickly. Additionally, Oxygen's only plant in that 4 stretch was on Penthouse Theater, which was where we said there was a bit of a puzzling set of decisions from Shuttle on how he played that and got back to the site. So despite OXG winning those 4 rounds, they really statistically weren't entirely that dominant. They were just very consistent with what they did, and they were very well coordinated. And the biggest criticism that OXG has had over the last couple months has been that there are times where it does not look like they work as a team and they just thrive off of individual efforts. Well, those 4 rounds, they seem to be moving as a unit, and it really worked out, and it overwhelmed Astralis.
Now the question is, Parker, now that we're switching on to the second half, as it always is with Coastline, even the new iteration, will we see the same flow in the second half for the inverse teams? Here it would be Astralis getting 4 rounds, pardon me. Probably going to need more than 4 kills to get 4 rounds. And Oxygen picking up 2, we go to OT, and things get interesting in those last 3 rounds. That's pretty common, but for me, I'm already starting to feel the vibe that Oxygen has figured out Astralis a little bit. And it might take them some time to do the same now in the second half, but we'll see. So Mute Jammers, once again, they do not go as high as they used to. And you can open up above the radius of a Mute Jammer, and that's exactly what Astralis have done on the VIP wall. It'll give them the ability to poke some holes into VIP rotations.
Excited to see Penthouse Theater come back with a Fury. And here it is. But Yaga now, even though he's not close to the site, he's over by Hookah, and he needs to hold down against the hordes as there are just an abundance of explosives being tossed on in. He loses the Mute Jammers, he loses the magnets, he's just going to continue to move backwards and manages miraculously to get away with his life intact. I don't know if Vertical's position has been given away, but he is also close to that action. And if they don't drone this out inside of Pink, any single member of Astralis who tries to push through Hookah could be easily fed to Vertical in his current spot. He finds the clones that get some intel, trying to soften up the Zovia DP Fire. Both he and Retro have taken a lot of damage, but DP Fire wins that one out. A small misplay by Vertical to be as aggressive without that information. Still down below, guarding the doorway is Fox A with the shotgun intact, but I think he realizes the jig is up. You wasted almost 2 minutes of this round. You need to get back to the bomb site, and that's exactly what they're going to do, as Astralis are basically at the door about to knock on the site.
It was expensive 2 minutes as they lost Vertical in the process, and Yaga's sure to follow as he's trapped in VIP. The Hall of Fame cutoff will not let him escape. Here comes a nade. Not as good for Astralis as it was for Oxygen. Cut on the clone is successful, and it's successful on J9O as well. With that, Astralis starting to bleed a little bit, and they're going to bleed even harder. Pistol out. Can he get a third? No. Shuttle finally shuts him down, and it's an even man count as we hit the last 37.
The absolute utter disrespect pulling out that weapon and just waiting and hoping. But the Karatos is a hell of a hand cannon, but not exactly what you want in that particular instance. Smoke will go off now as the final 20 seconds set us up for an execute here. Both teams sitting at 3 bodies still upright in the server. DP Fire not too close to the site, as his 2 teammates in Shuttle and Iconic hand in hand will walk on in. Nitro Cell's at the ready and it takes down Iconic. They see the Zofia, but Laxing looks like he's having some serious troubles, and he is. DP Fire continues his rampage, but he gets outdone by Foxay, and it's 5 in a row for Oxygen.
That was a little bit of an unforced error there from Laxing, but in the end, it doesn't matter as his team will win the round, and that's all important. As long as you win, it's okay how embarrassing it is. Well played there to Oxygen. I love their delay over by Billiards and Vase, Hookah, that area. Great work on slowing down the Astralis clear. And Astralis really didn't seem to have the correct answers. It's surprising to me with all the soft destruction they had available, all the utility they could have used to maybe open up the Billiards wall, that they didn't clear out those roamers faster. Probably had something to do with the, how much they had to have spent on the ADSs by Vase. But they're going to take a tactical timeout. Astralis realize their backs are against the wall, and they're going to try and correct that.
Well, here's the thing. Even though that round went down, guess who got the opening pick again?
Astralis.
Astralis did. So through these 7 rounds, Astralis has had an advantage, albeit maybe just for a couple seconds, but still an advantage nonetheless in 5 of these 7 rounds. Where Astralis is really struggling is to coordinate and transition that through the mid-round, and it's not that I want to say that this is live or die by your roamers, but the setups that Astralis have are not helping your anchors at all. Now on attack, it's your support players that you're going to need to watch. Because if your entry is not doing their job, if DP Fire, J90 and Iconic are not able to make space while the 2 more veteran players on Astralis can drone out effectively and use utility to give those entries a fighting chance, then this is going to be a very quick matchup. And it already is. Oxygen has their foot on the floor right now, as the pedal is really to the metal 5 rounds in a row, prompting Astralis to take this time out. And hopefully, in the sake of a relatively balanced, a fair and balanced matchup, Michael, we see Astralis be able to fight back, because at the moment, it doesn't look like they're really doing anything that is all that successful against this OXG squad.
No, Parker, I think Oxygen have got this on lock. It took them a while to figure out Astralis, but we actually, I do want to bring this up. It's an important Siege phenomenon. When you see a team lose the first few rounds or so, or 2 or 3 of the first 3 rounds, and then start a comeback like the one we're seeing from Oxygen, it usually is an indication of a team that is excellent at adapting on the fly and learning their opponent's patterns. And I think we're seeing that on display here from Oxygen. It's hard to discern that from just being, an unlucky first couple rounds and then, suddenly you figured it out, to an actual, readable counter to your opponent. I think it is a counter in this case. I've seen some great things from Oxygen so far and some great things from Astralis, and that's what makes me say that.
So this is a pivotal round for OXG for both of these teams. In fact, Astralis could find themselves on the knife's edge if Oxygen proves successful on this kitchen defense that they have set up. Yes, don't be alarmed. What we just witnessed was a successful penthouse theater defense. And earlier on, a successful penthouse theater take from Oxygen. So far, they are thriving on that bomb site. And if memory serves me correctly, I can't remember if they were OXG or if they were Reciprocity at this time. But even before Coastline got reworked, I vaguely remember them attempting the old penthouse theater to see if it would work. And, I mean, it didn't, but it was still a spirited effort either way. It's nice to see the bomb site back in. And one thing that it will also do is that the changes to VIP upstairs will also help out this kitchen site, because teams need to take VIP. Given that it's a double panel wall, given that they've changed the southwest corner of the room, that little nook that they had in there where players could hold very easily, this makes it significantly more challenging for attackers to take up that type of map and hold that map control. And defenders can hold it better, and, well, it boosts the chances of teams holding off on kitchen. That said, DP fires down for the count. Yaga almost dropped as well inside a kitchen, trying to waste some time. OXG gets their very first opening duel in their favor since the third round. Been dominated by Astralis.
A lot of damage done to Yaga, though, in exchange. That is worth keeping in mind. Another kill, though, for Oxygen. As they look to push us to match point. It's looking likely at this point. Now, J90 is still alive, and he has been the one to get the kills for his team, but he hasn't gotten a kill yet this half, and in fact, he hasn't gotten a kill in a few rounds here, including the last half. So, pressure's on. 12 kills. You got to make that even more, or Retro and Shuttle really have to pick it up here in this round.
Yeah, with J90 going quiet more on the shoulders of DP Fire and Iconic, but you've lost both of them, so that's really not where you want to be. Laxing is poised and ready to get the Hibana, but Shuttle wins that fight and will continue to march forward over to the top of main stairs. Will now push down towards the lobby. Not too far off is Vertical. Down goes Yaga. Astralis has a fighting chance, but the greater task is to get Retro in and get that diffuser planted. 4 seconds to go. Vertical doesn't know. Retro stopped in his tracks. Can anybody retrieve the diffuser? No, they can't. Time runs out. They don't kill everybody, but they kill enough. And that's all that matters because the clock is ultimately Astralis' biggest nemesis. And it's match point for OXG.
Man, lots to go into there. The clear upstairs for Astralis got punished a lot. Is really a painful clear for them. Following that up, though, great diligence, especially from Shuttle by top white stairs. And then they start to pick up kills vertically. They start to go, okay, we're in an even man count now. And things are looking great for Astralis. But, oh, what's this? There's only 5 seconds left. Okay. It's great if you start figuring it out, but the timing matters a lot in Siege. As it often does with attack, you really got to push the envelope a little bit more than what we just saw from Astralis. You can't just hope that the kills will happen. You got to force them out. And, I mean, Laxing was sitting at the top of White Stairs for a solid chunk of that round. He could have died at any time. You get that kill and you open up your opportunities, and now anything's possible. Maybe you do that 30 seconds prior or 20 seconds prior. What a difference that can make. Now we're going to Uka Billiards, Parker, and Astralis just have not managed to win. I mean, they haven't won since the first couple rounds. So, it's been pretty bad.
I mean, this has not been the outing that we wanted from Astralis. I'll remind everybody, heading into this matchup, the 2 games that have been played under this Astralis banner thus far were a 3-7 loss to the Sonics. The Sonics, for those that aren't aware, came into today tied with Oxygen with a 14-8 round differential, both sitting at 6 points. The Sonics and Oxygen have been the best 2 teams so far through the NAL, and a 3-7 scoreline for Astralis against the best team, or one of the best teams right now. It's not exactly terrible. This Astralis squad is still young. They're still finding their footing. They bounced back with a 7-3 victory over XSET, but XSET right now have the distinction of being the worst team in North America, so because of that, it's hard to gauge exactly what Astralis' ceiling is. It looks like coming to Coastline here. Whether they're exasperated, whether they're tilted, we don't entirely know. Astralis shot out to a 2-0 lead, and since then, Oxygen has put up 6 unanswered rounds. That is not where you want to be, and Astralis have already taken their time out. It did not immediately work on the previous round, and now it is a bomb site that teams very much like to play and tend to win on defense, and that's where Oxygen are going to sit.
Oh, I don't think he got it. Yeah, he got caught by the mute jammer. They didn't even notice. That's hilarious. The Twitch drone there from Astralis was trying to get the mirror window, but couldn't get close enough. Or no, could have gotten close enough. Range has been increased, but also didn't get it. So, yeah, it's just... Oh, and there's the second one. Okay. Oh, that's funny. Not such successful Twitch drones there from Astralis, and Oxygen will benefit.
Well, just a bit of utility, but nothing else really besides that they've had to be too concerned with. So we'll see exactly what the follow-up is with DP Fire down below. Wait very patiently. Once again, all this utility that's stacked up at the doorway that they will happily play off of here for Oxygen. That deployable shield set back with an ADS and mute jammers, and they can very easily net any of that utility thrown their way. Kino at such close range will be devastating, by the way.
I just want to say that Astralis have been absolutely abysmal at dealing with the utility by Vase. They've expended quite a lot of their utility in trying to clear it out. A full set of nades and stuns, and they haven't gotten anything. And And that's really, really not great.
All the march up the stairs is going to come, and Kino falls back at the wrong time. Astralis opens things up in a crucial round. Win this one, and you stay alive, lose it, and that's it. It's all over but the crying. Now on the stairs, Vertical gets dropped, another for J90. We still got an escort with them. Astralis' guns are hitting their targets quite remarkably. 3 kills for them, nobody able to answer back from OXG. Retro as well as that diffuser in hand. He'll be able to get that one dropped as a 3rd kill for J90, and Laxing has him lined up. But a 4th for J90. Beautiful stuff from Astralis to stay in this. They really needed this round, and they had tons of confidence in Moxie behind them to break OXG's 6 unanswered streak.
Confidence in Moxie behind Parker, J90 in front. And boy, howdy, was that a round from him. 4K is just what you need to break that streak of terrible losses. And J90 is shouldering the burden. The rest of his team in the backpack, they are ready for him to bring it all the way. So he's going to need to pick up 3 more rounds. We'll see if J90 can do it to bring us to overtime. And the big problem with that is that we've got a pause now of some sort. I'm not sure what the details are. I don't know what.
OXG took a timeout, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't hear. They didn't tell me that. They must have told Parker.
Well, no, Michael, they typed it in the chat.
Oh, okay. I'm not paying attention to chat. I'm looking at like the production feed to look for that. Hey, there it is. The tactical time out indicator. Anyway, so with the tactical timeout that Auction's taking here, they're going to the momentum that Astralis would have just built up from that round, fleeting though it was, and now they get to set up a strategy to possibly hard counter what we've been seeing in that last round. Possibly deal with the problem. Honestly, I think it mostly comes down to that last round. Mostly comes down to just Kino dying on blue stairs for free. Really bad timing on that shotgun pump on the drone.
Yeah, and he just completely falls off. I don't think he expected such an aggressive escort up the stairs. It is his undoing, not ideal, and not where he wanted to find himself, which is ultimately dead. And because they had that control, they can then bully the remaining players from Oxygen who are spread out in such a way that they would need to retake the site from those angles. And, well, they couldn't really do that. So tough going for Oxygen, as they will now go back over to the bomb site that has actually been their most successful thus far. A victory here on attack and a victory here on defense, as Penthouse Theater shows up yet again for the 3rd time. Once again, for those of you that are not familiarized with the changes with the introduction of Crystal Guard, the latest season of Rainbow Six, 3 maps got some small touch-ups. And when I say small, I mean quite small. Not overhauls of the map, some changes and tinkering here and there. On Coastline, the biggest change that a lot of players will notice is upstairs in VIP. Out is the VIP window. In are 2 walls to reinforce. Additionally, the corner of the room that could usually be held so well by defenders, well, it's been opened up now, so you can hold it maybe a little bit better. And it also allows you to open up the wall to give a greater line of sight. With that, Penthouse Theater has suddenly become a much more viable bomb site, and its pick rate has shot up from the Coastline games that we've seen thus far.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you can use VIP as a rotation now. The fact that the big window in VIP was such an easy cutoff for the attackers meant that roaming by Vase and Hookah was essentially suicide, and that has been corrected. So, great to see. There's the extended range from the Twitch drones coming in clutch. A mirror window and the 90 cam. That's great use of utility there from Iconic. I don't think he saw him.
I don't think Laxing has been spotted either.
Oh,
now he has been, though, and he's going to have to get out of there. The other change is the bars to the window, which allow players to be spotted or be spotted before from Skylight, but Laxing will take up that aggressive stance inside of Courtyard. One big thing that happened in that previous round was J90 picking up a 4K, and 17 kills is a hell of a tally for him thus far. If he has one bad round, that could be it for Astralis. And, well, with the fact that OXG is on match point, you don't have the advantage of a bad round available for Astralis.
Laxing has definitely been spotted this time around, as it's a drone pre-placed in office, and his vertical goes down. The fact that Laxing's position is well known could cause even more problems. He could be the next casualty, depending on how Astralis plays this. But it's slow going after the initial pick. And Astralis have been getting those initial picks quite a lot. It doesn't mean they've been winning the rounds, so this is not done yet.
And that's Vertical going down as well. The best player from Oxygen will sit on the bench, ride the pine for the remainder of the round as J90 picks up that 18th kill, which is just a mind-bogglingly high number at the moment. Impressive stuff. And looking to try to vault on up those Siege GG ratings, which he will have no problem doing with a tagline like that and a scoreline like that. Now, for Astralis, they've been able to figure out most of the offsite play. There's still 2 roamers from Oxygen down below, but Astralis have 50 seconds left to gain that intel. And you can see there's still 2 on drones. A 19th kill for J90 as he is just being capitalizing like crazy. And there's another for him. He technically gets Kino. As I don't know what's going on right now, but J90 is instrumental. Laxing down below, he's going to be fighting shoulder to shoulder with Yaga as the smokes come off, making their retake even more challenging. And Yaga, a team kill as Laxing vaults and scares him. It's all left on the shoulders of the young player from OXG, and J90 shuts him down. Is that kill 21 for J90? We'll have to look at the kill tally, but goodness gracious, he is on another planet right now. Very quickly, Astralis are closing this gap.
Yep, 21 is indeed the tally, Parker, as he is actually, as you say, on a different planet. He has more kills than the next 2 best performers in the lobby combined. So, well played to J90. He was quiet through the mid game there for a little bit, but he started to pick it up now that we're nearing the late game. He needed to win 4 rounds in a row for his team. He has so far won 2 rounds in a row for his team. Let's see if he can make it 4. 2 more to go. Yeah,
the record is on the line here right now, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, that's technically true, yeah.
It is entirely possible that J90 can break the single match kill record, which, by the way, we are actually going to need official word on what it is, because I know that there have been differences. I think it's Palu at 27, if I remember correctly, but I mean, we're going to need some official word, because I know that we have talked about NAL records, we've talked about online records, and we've talked about LAN records, and whether there is one true kill record.
Yeah, it really depends on how you quantify the record. It's, yeah, are you looking at internationally? Are you also looking at exclusively professional T1 play? Are you including CL, yada, yada, yada? The list goes on, and there's always different opinions. We'll see, though, and we will likely get that word if we actually near that potential. There's no, J90 could go quiet right now, for all we know. We'll find out. Again, 2 rounds in a row is the billing for Astralis here. Or technically, it would be 4 rounds in a row, but 2 rounds from here. And if they do get that, then we go to OT, and that opens up the possibility for J90 to go even further.
What an exciting shout that would be. For the record, the rest of Astralis have 14 kills to J90's 21. That is an astoundingly high number. Despite that, OXG are still doing quite well. There's 21 kills between Fox, Kino, and Vertical, not including the 12 between Laxing and Yaga. So we'll see as we get closer. We do have official word, though, by the way. I was correct. 27 kills is the record for a single map in Tier 1 competition. We don't have the NAL record available just yet. Iconic Falls, if J90 stays alive, that's still very much within their grasp. But OXG are looking to deflate this team. 22 kills for J90. He walks right in. He's got command of this bomb site, and he's got another available as well, doing a ton of damage to Fox. Will he be credited with that one or not? DP Fire is next one up to watch the stairs. J90 in a fight of his own, but a fight for his life, as is Astralis. Not as important as this kill record. It's Astralis to win this round to keep things moving forward. Down goes Yaga, that shuttles kill, but he's traded out by Laxing immediately. J90 with diffuser in hand. DP Fire will have to watch. Is there a cross available? This is good coverage from DP Fire, and J90 will be able to get out of there quite quickly. 3 members upright for OXG to take them on. Playing around that deployable shield, J90 inside of the bomb site. The wall will go off, but it doesn't do any damage to DP Fire. As Laxing is now going to try and hit it from the back. Down goes Vertical, and now DP Fire is traded off as well. So J90 will need to find these 2 final kills. Where is he? We'll have to wait for them long range. Sitting inside a Sunrise bar, he's worried about where they're going to come from, but Laxing says no thank you. It doesn't matter what the record is because we're not going to get there. With plenty of time left, OXG will hop on that diffuser, disable it. And by a score line of 7-4, well, they managed to stop the scare that was Astralis, and they pick up their league-leading 3rd map through 3 maps in 3 days thus far.
Big win there for OXG. It was called into question for a little bit. J9O really giving Oxygen a run for their money, but a win's a win, and as you say, Parker, they are now in firm control of the NAL. Could be usurped from them by the Sonics, but they're starting to build a lead that's going to be hard to match later on. Oxygen have now beaten TSM, Mirage, and Astralis over the first 3 playdays.
Well, no doubt that Oxygen's schedule will get tougher given the opponents that they've had thus far, but I mean, we'll wait to see. Strength of schedule is something that we talk about quite frequently, but we don't really have a good finger on the pulse of how good these teams are. I mean, TSM have looked downright miserable in comparison to where they've been before, and they're a team that's consistently in the top 4, so speculation just gets tossed out the window at this point, Michael. The one thing that I do want to highlight, J9O finishing 22-6 and his team still losing. I don't ever want to hear somebody on stream or in a ranked game complain about top fragging and losing when J9O just went 22-6 and his team still lost. You don't get to complain anymore. Those are the rules. I hate to break it to you, but a spirited effort from him. Ultimately, it's a team effort that carries OXG through that finish line.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. We see professional matches where there's a team or a player individually dropping 18 or 20 kills and they still lose. It's not uncommon. It's a team game. You got to play it as such. But that's it for Parker and I. We've got DZ versus Mirage up next in an analyst segment to talk about the match we just saw. Before that, a break.
What does it take to call next? Follow us for a deep dive into the Rainbow Six community, breaking down barriers, taking you behind the scenes, and showing what it means to level up.
If you want to get better, try reviewing your game footage. Insights.gg's game capture tool makes recording and reviewing fast and easy. With no lag, automatic recording, and instant highlights, it's never been easier to learn from your gameplay. Try it for free at insights.gg today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and we just saw Oxygen put on one heck of a performance, and rightfully so. If you guys saw it on the pre-show, Foxy said, listen, we need to get interviewed, and they won, and because of that, Foxy is going to be rewarded with it. So Foxy, if you can hear me, man, first off, I want to say congratulations on the win, but I have a real serious question for you. And by the way, your hair looks beautiful, man. Stage 1, you guys are #1 on top of the leaderboard. Stage 2, it was some rough patches, man. You guys went through some bumps in the road, but here in Stage 3, which is all that matters right now, you guys are on top again, 3-0, you're dominating. What troubles did you guys have to overcome in order to get back to this place? I missed it.
Gotcha. First of all, thank you for the compliment. You look beautiful as ever. Pretty much Stage 1, we were a brand new team. We brought a lot of potential. A lot of teams didn't necessarily know the avenue that we were going to take into that season. They didn't know if we were going to be aggressive, passive, or our strats in general. Then we had a really good run of beating like almost everybody, and there was a lot of footage on us. We went to the major, did a decent performance there, and then for stage 2, it was a difficult task trying to adapt, especially with picking up 2 new players, trying to change our play styles and pretty much having a deeper arsenal than we did in stage 1. Instead of picking up 2 veteran players, we brought Kino and Yog, which are incredible players, but in Pro League there's a lot more aspects into being at the top of your game than just being an incredible player. So we've been trying to keep them up or get them up to speed for stage 3, and we know that we had that potential. Obviously we had an amazing stage 1, so it's not like we were just terrible out of nowhere and we never could get to that point. We did get to that point. We knew that we could do it. So it was a long road and journey practicing and really beating down everything to get to that point, but we're happy that we're able to at least show some of it now. So it's just about keeping consistent now.
And consistency is definitely key right now. 3 big wins, especially beating TSM at the beginning of the stage. Oxygen, you guys are a breath of fresh air compared to stage 2. But I have to ask, Vertical, I know that he's very passionate about just being good enough to help his team be successful, and when he's not there, he takes it pretty personal. Lately, Vertical has been on the tear. Your top fragger for the last 2 play days. What has been changed up to allow him to really tap into who he really is out there on the battlefield?
Yeah, we've actually messed around with roles a little bit. As you can see, like Kino's now on our primary entry and Yog's more or less on our like flex position. So I think with giving Vert, I guess, like a teammate in Kino, with Kino's kind of just like a little soldier who can think for himself in crucial situations. So it's amazing because Vert is able to, I guess, command him and help him entry into whatever area he's trying to take. And then Yog can see the map, I guess. Maybe it's because he plays so much FPL, but he can just see the map in a way that a lot of other players can't. So he's able to position himself, I guess, in the best way possible, and he's amazing in almost any position because he knows how to put himself in the most successful way. So I think that just those role switches were, I guess, probably the biggest change for us. And I just guess everyone's kind of excelling on our new roles.
I love it. Last question before I leave the stage to you, right? To give a shout out to the fans and whatnot. So moving forward, if you let us all in backstage on what's happening with Oxygen, you guys have drastically improved defensively, jumping up, I believe, 30% in success rate, which is insane, man. Crazy numbers, by the way. Looking towards the problems that you guys have now, what do you guys look forward to fixing to become an even better team? Because knowing you and Laxing, you guys are perfectionists, and I know you want to be the best.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just staying consistent. And I guess right now we're just really focusing on communication. It could be very daunting, especially whenever crowds come back, trying to play your top of your game with, thousands of people in front of you. So we're just trying to make sure that everyone's always calm, cool, and like collected going into the next matchup. And you said I could say like a shout out to the fans, correct?
Of course, man. Give them some love, Foxy.
Okay, we finally got an interview, so thank you to the NAL and everything that they've been able to give for us, and thank you for giving me an interview. Appreciate it. Much love to all the fans and everyone that's supporting us, especially through stage 2, which was dreadful for us. We're hoping that we can at least have a better average performance for the rest of stage 3. Huge shout out to Astralis. I never thought in my career I'd be saying that I played versus Astralis. They're an amazing team. J90 is a crazy player. I love those guys on this team, so shout out to them. And we'll see. I mean, you guys will see us for the rest of stage 3. So I hope you enjoyed the show.
Foxy, continue being a great mentor to the 2 newcomers on your roster and continue to dominate and stay in that top spot because I love seeing you guys win, man. You have a great day, and maybe you and I grab some dinner later, man. You take it easy, all right?
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day.
No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Rainbow Six Siege's own model himself. I mean, taking a look at him, you just know the guy is great at everything. Gameplay, looks, it doesn't matter. But with the highlights brought to us by Predator, Oxygen, fellas, Jesse and Jacob, they're back on top and beating Astralis. They make it look kind of easy, even when J9O has a hot hand.
Bro, this game is the epitome of the task failed successfully meme with J9O dropping as many kills as he did in a loss. They came so close. Dude, if I'm J9O, I'm asking for a pay raise after that one. He clawed so many rounds or opportunities back. First 2 rounds Astralis won were him getting 9 kills in the span of 2 rounds. But everything OXG did after the bell, after those first 2 rounds, was very adaptative. It all worked into the way that Astralis played. They shut them down and had 4 unanswered rounds immediately after Astralis' first 2, and it all fell into place when they shifted over to defense.
Yeah, I think at some point after round 2, somebody told Auction that they would be getting an interview if they won this one, and they turned it on a high gear, brought everything against Astralis, and just tore it up, winning, I believe, 6 rounds in a row before finally closing out on round 11. A dominant performance from OXG, and one they can be very proud of today.
Well, I mean, take a look at the stats. I'm going to be completely honest. I was looking at J9O's kills the whole time, wondering if he was going to break the record. 22-6, beautiful. But with that loss, it really doesn't matter. But on Oxygen's side, Vertical once again showing out. We heard it in the interview. Foxy said, I got to credit the role changes. I mean, Vertical is just way more comfortable. And you see it in the gameplay. But Jesse...
Yeah.
Woo! What was going on with Oxygen rounds 1 and 2? Because I was kind of scared for a moment, man.
Yeah, I mean, we started off with a pretty dominant start from Astralis, right? They went up 2-0, as you mentioned, and it really did feel like they were playing quite well to the way that the map had formed, the way that the changes had come in. It felt like OXG were definitely struggling against some of these changes, and I think, Jacob, we can touch on that a little bit more, but it really did feel like when OXG were going against Astralis, playing these takes where they were extending towards 90, opening up into VIP, they really didn't know what to do. They weren't able to open VIP when they went for their kitchen attack. And when they switched that up, when they attacked kitchen the next time around, they just ran through service. They said, we don't even deal with any of this. So I really love that adaptation coming in from OXG. Yes, they struggled with some of the changes earlier on in this game, but they brought it right back beautifully.
Now, Jacob, you said something really interesting, by the way, and I was really happy that you brought this up. You said if there was a hypothetical world, if Coastline didn't get a remake, this match might have gone a little bit more different than what we saw on screen. Tell us what you're talking about, man.
So yeah, I wanted to specifically touch on the 2 times that we saw Astralis attempt to defend Hookah. They did it in 2 different ways. The first time they did it, they made full advantage of all of the new Coastline changes. You have to barricade up the windows that look down from the roof, especially into the hallway right in front of VIP, and VIP wall now requires reinforcements. Round 1, Astralis play into that. They have a mirror window on 90, specifically right there with a whole bunch of coverage down the hallway and plenty of players able to make sure that the mirror doesn't die. OXG didn't really know how to counter that, and they lost the round off the back of, yes, a good J9O performance, but still, that's something that we haven't seen before. Then we go back to that same site for round 5, and the only difference between the way that it was played before the rework and after is that there was reinforcements on VIP wall and 1 rotate in the wall that leads directly into Hookah double. That was it. So OXG could then play the round out the way that you always play Hookah attacks out, and that was a moment where Astralis could have done the same thing they did in round 1, but didn't. So if OXG went into this map playing everything like, oh, there hadn't been any changes, then they might have won this map even faster. If Astralis had played more into the differences that Coastline has for its rework, maybe they would have been able to win more of those rounds. They did it once and it worked, but why wouldn't you go back and do it again? That's my question.
This is kind of like a Marvel's What If episode. What if Coastline
really
never changed? Astralis might have done better on defense. But hey, we'll never know. But Jesse, what we do know is that round number 4 really caught your eye. What about that round did you want to break down for us and the viewers with this replay?
So there's a lot going on in round 4. I wanted to watch it one more time and take a look at this. We're going to start with the roam clear that went on. And I mean, you've just got to give credit to J9O playing amazingly. That's DP fire inside of Hookah. J9 actually over around luggage to be able to get that pinch. Beautiful job, those 2 players working together. And that's going to come back again. J9 or DP Fire may be a little aggressive, continue to swing here in Billiards, but he's buying time. Watch at the very top of your screen, you just saw it. We've got J9O rotating all the way from luggage over to now the VIP hallway, and he's going to be able to help out his teammate here, DP Fire, who's coming under a lot of pressure. He's actually going to die here. Here comes the next swing, though, to come back in, go for that push. Excellently done. I believe he was actually over in Hookah for that entire time. So now we see him in a really tough spot, right? He's going to be pinched by these 2 players, and I want you to notice this bottom player in orange instead of Auction. He's actually going to shoot that alibi clone playing over by Vase, and that's going to give the opportunity for J9O to go for the swing. There it happens. Beautiful swing of Till Yaga, and yeah, he gets traded. That's always going to be a trade, but it's so important that he gets that kill and keeps his team in advantage.
Yeah, the advantage right now is definitely in Astralis' favor up until we see a couple nades. 2 straight nade kills here, and Astralis turns this from a 2v3 into a 2 versus 1. The second nade, you can already see it being prepped, gets winged in, and the one behind the mirror window's down. So the mirror, herself, is now dead. So it turns into Shuttle in a 1 versus 2. Momentum is currently in Oxygen's favor. But now you can go for the swing. A little bit of pressure forces Vertical to come off of it. Shuttle is actually going to die. No, Shuttle will get the kill, but he's going to drop the hatch. The problem with that is now it forces Foxay to go for a diffuser retrieval, but there isn't a nitro cell in Shuttle's back pocket, which means that it's OXG's favor yet again. What Shuttle now has to do is figure out where this plant's going down, but he doesn't have an intel or a drone, anything in there to help him out with figuring out where the diffuser's gone down. So what does he do? Has to trudge right back up the staircase and win a good old-fashioned 1v1. Now, Kix mentioned it. When Foxay retreats back out here to VIP balcony, he has so much time with which to position himself. I want to say he probably had, that drone is going to give him perfect intel. Shuttle is going to move right in, and he'll shoot the drone in a second, so it comes down to where this 1v1 happens. There's the drone. He's already shot it. So as soon as he comes off the plant, he now knows he has to win the 1v1. The two of them then engage inside Hall of Fame, and that is the end of the round right there. It came down to so many different, shifts in terms of who had the power at the very end of that round.
That was so intense, especially the fact that the person that was highlighted at the end was Shuttle. The guy that was talking about was so clutch last time we saw Astralis play. But for the very end part of this segment, I pretty much want to ask you guys, who wants it? Jedi No popped off. Who wants to talk about how well Jedi No did? We have to give him justice, even though they lost.
Yeah, I'll let Jacob go on a little bit about this, but I just want to say, we talked about how he's been struggling on that entry in the pre-show. Went 4-0 on entry this time around. No shock that he's able to bring up that stat line and play so much better when he's staying alive in those opening engagements. Fortunately, it wasn't enough, though.
Yes.
Yeah, notable improvements, but here's the issue. He's moving into a sledge role, which he did back in stage 2, and when Sledge is unbanned, he does fantastic in that role.
Yes.
He can't be the only person to get kills, though. We're gonna get a little bit of clarification on whether he actually did have an ace in that one round, and whether those kills are ones that count for HP versus not counting for just the amount of damage you do to a player. But that's still a crazy amount of impact that one guy had. Veli, actually, a question you asked me, is Retro going to be effectual in this game? He practically wasn't for many of those rounds where J9O was kind of doing all the work by himself. So I was saying it in a joking way. J9, ask for a pay raise, my dude, because that is a really nice stat line to have, even in the midst of a loss. And there's some coordination issues I think Astralis now has to figure out before they play tomorrow.
Jacob basically said to ask Astralis to bring in the Brinks truck. But fellas, we actually have a community poll question, and this one is: the last time these two teams met went to max rounds. Will Vertical or Iconic get the most kills in the game? And before we saw the results of this matchup, Jesse, who would you think would win this, actually? Not even on a popularity scale.
Yeah, I think Vertical did have more kills than Iconic did, if my memory is correct. Vertical was top of the scoreboard for OXG, and after J9O and Astralis, it kind of fell off a cliff in terms of who got more kills.
Yeah.
Jacob, what are your thoughts about this?
If we're talking about what people voted on, I think everyone would kind of be dumb not to root for Vertical when he's kind of on this resurgence tour, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think the people should have voted for Vertical.
Okay, so the winner actually was Vertical. It was a really close contest, by the way. 57% voted for him, and the ever so popular Iconic loss of 43 on his end. But I want to give a shout out to Vertical once more, because Vertical has been on an absolute tear. 12 kills this game, top of the leaderboard for Oxygen the last 2 series. If he keeps this up, Oxygen is just going to get scarier and scarier as this team just continues to gel with that chemistry starting to build up even more. But coming up next, fellas, we have a good one, all right? Jacob, you're good at doing this build-up thing, right? Mirage is playing against a specific team. Tell the viewers out there why they should definitely tune into this one.
Mirage have a few things to figure out. A couple of cooks in the kitchen giving them more of an attacking identity, but you want to know what they're facing next? The return of the gunslinger. Troy Canadian is back in lobbies in Rainbow Six after a very premature retirement, and I think it's about to go down for DZ, getting a resurgence back in the NAL.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from Jacob. It's about to go down. Jesse and I have had fun on this desk with him, but coming up next, we have a banger of a matchup. We'll catch you guys on the other side of this break.